all, princes and paupers alike. I am so glad that you have all come here today so that I can teach you about one of America's great literary geniuses, Mark Twain. Twain was born Samuel Langhorne Clemens in Florida, Missouri on November 30th, 1835, which was right around the time that Halley's Comet could be seen in our skies. He took his pseudonym or pen name from his days as a riverboat pilot on the Mississippi River, where Mark Twain meant 2 fathoms, or 12 feet of water, which was safe passage for a riverboat. But I wonder, we are here today to tell the tale of one of Twain's great works, The Prince and the Pauper. It is a coming-of-age novel about 2 young boys who grew up at the extremes of British society. One is a pauper, the poorest of the poor, and the other is the heir to the throne. It takes place, as Mark Twain puts it, on an autumn day in the ancient city of London in the second quarter of the 16th century. The poor boy is born to a family named Canty. And on the same day, a son is born to an extraordinarily wealthy family named Tudor.
I don't need another brat. Oh Lord, please hear our prayer and bestow your abundance upon us as you see fit. We've already got more than enough mouths to feed. This mighty nation of Great Britain yearns to be blessed with a child that will be seen as a gift to everyone. It'll be years before he can earn his keep. But every man knows what a blessing it is to have a child in his head. I ain't gonna feed another one. How can I? There are only so many fools ready to have me snatch their first. Why, May? Oh Lord, the gift of this child to our son will bestow a great blessing upon the entire nation. Don't curse me with another brat! For if it be a son, he'll be the heir to the throne, His Royal Majesty the Prince of Wales. In fact, take some of the ones I already got. Just don't give me any more. Our nation of Great Britain yearns for an heir to the throne. If you're going to give me something, then give me something to eat. O Lord, if in your wisdom and kindness you see fit to grant King Henry VIII, the House of Tudor, and heir to the throne, the entire nation of Great Britain would humbly thank you for it, and celebrate your name for giving our king a son. Give me a tom turkey. That's something I can sink me teeth into, but no more mouths to feed. It's a son! A son! I asked for a tom and I get one. A son!
Let us skip a number of years. London was 1,500 years old and was a great town for its day. The streets were very narrow, crooked, and dirty, especially in the part of town where Tom Canty lived, which wasn't far from London Bridge. The houses were of wood, with the second story projecting over the first, and the third sticking its elbows out over the second. The house where Tom's father lived was up a foul little pocket called Over Court. The houses were small, decayed, and rickety, but packed full of wretchedly poor families.
Little balls and trinkets. Yes, yes, yes. Look at the pretty little bubble I was lucky enough to find.
Look! Ha! You've seen that trinket sparkling a mile off, and it pulled you to it. Them fools wants to show off their wealth, and it's your duty to relieve them of the weight of lugging it all around.
This should fetch £1 or 2. Keep us in there for a week or 2. Maybe even buy us a bottle of rum.
What else does he buy in there?
Some bread and meat.
I'm starving!
He's trying to sneak in on us.
Paul, it's me. It's Tom. Tom caught you.
What you got? Did you fill your cup?
Mom, could you spare a few pennies? I'm so hungry. And my sister's hungry. And my mom's ill. And she can't take care of us now. Because she's so sick that every time she tries to stand up, she just falls over and starts to retch. And her skin is all...
You are the dumbest brat! That is the dumbest, stupidest story I ever heard. You're trying to get yourself thrown into bedlam? Because that's what's going to happen. Folks will think you got some sort of plague.
But, Pa...
Don't paw me. No brat of mine will make up a story that dumb. Can't teach you how to steal. Can't even teach you how to beg.
Send the brat to bed with no food. Teach him how to really beg.
Yeah, that will teach you. But first, go back out and get some money. No money, no food.
Good evening, Tom.
Good evening to you, Father Andrew. Are you taking anything strolling? Catching a bit of fresh air?
Fresh air? What a quaint idea, Tom. I believe the same foul air is attempting to corrupt us tonight that John Canty, your pa, and his mother, your granny, breathed when they were children in the same slum. Ophel Court. I've always wondered, did they name the street and then it became a haven for the discards of humanity? Or was it such a wretched slum to begin with? That's the only word we could use to describe it, was a word we used for garbage. So, Tom, have you been practicing your Latin? Have you been reading the books I gave you?
I do the best I can, Father. But my pa, he wants me out on the street begging.
John Canty, your pa wants you beside him on the road to Hades, my lad. Out in the street. Begging for alms is just the first step. The next is to have you follow in his very footsteps, turning you into a thief. That's the road he wants you to spend your time on.
I did spend a few minutes on it, Father. Reading, that is. I'd rather spend my time reading. And practicing my Latin, of course.
Reading. It's the only thing that will take you away from Ophel Court, my lad. For without it, you can't do anything but steal and beg. But enough of this. Which story did you read?
The one about the brave prince who rode off to save the beautiful damsel. What's a damsel?
A virtuous young woman?
Oh, a girl!
Yes.
So he rides off to save the damsel, and fights the dragon, and kills it, and rescues her from the dragon's cave, and brings her back to his palace, and marries her. Because she's really a princess, and they live happily ever after.
A wonderful story, my lad.
It was great. Now, I shall be a prince and must assemble my court. Lord Holybuck?
Yes, my lord?
I need my royal robes.
Yes, my lord. I'll fix them right quick.
My son Butler?
Tom wanted to the great city, hardly noticing where he was going. By and by, he found himself the farthest from home he had ever traveled, but felt unable to imagine again as he passed outside the walls of London. He eyed down a quiet country road towards a mighty and majestic house called Westminster. At first from distance, because he felt himself and city alike, awaited any chance the royalty lived inside.
My God, man, thou young
How darest thou use the king my father's meaner subject says? Open the gates and let him in. The prince! Oh, Olivia's tired and hungry. Hast thou been ill-treated? Come with me. No servants, please. My guests should be allowed to dine in peace without being embarrassed by a critical presence. Please help yourself, good sir. What is thy name, lad?
Tom Canty, and it please thee, sir,
'Tis an odd one. Where dost thou live?
in the city, please thee, sir, over court out of Pudding Lane.
Ophel Court. Truly 'tis another odd one. Hast thou parents?
Parents I have, sir, and a sister, and a grandmother, likewise, although I'm indifferent toward her. And God forgive me if it be an offence to say that.
Then thy grandmother's unkind to thee. I take it.
She hath a wicked art and wicked evil all the days.
Does she mistreat me?
There are times when she doesn't beat me, when she's asleep and overcome with drink. But when she is herself again, she makes up for it with her beatings.
What? Beatings?
Oh, indeed, sir.
Beatings, and you so frail. Harkye, before nightfall she shall be taken to the tower. The king, my father, shall...
sooth you, forget a low degree, sir. The tower is for the great alone.
Sure indeed. I have not thought of that. I shall consider her punishment. Is my father kind to thee?
No more than Graham, can't you, sir?
Fathers be alike, mayhaps. Mine hath no dull temper either. How doth thy mother treat thee?
She is good to me, giving me neither sorrow nor pain. My sister is like her in this.
How old be she?
15, and it please thee, sir.
The Lady Elizabeth, my sister, is 14. And the Lady Jane Grey, my cousin, is my own age. But my sister, the Lady Mary, with a gloomy mannering. Does my sister forbid her servants to smile? Does her sin destroy the souls?
Oh, sir, you think she has servants?
And pray thee, why not? Who helpeth her dress at night? Who dresses her when she doth rise?
None, sir. Wouldst thou ever take off a garment and sleep without like the beasts?
Say garment? Has she but one?
Good, sir. What would she do with more? Surely she doesn't have two bodies.
What's in quaint and marvellous fault? Well, you both shall have garments enough here. My coffers shall look to it. Thou speakest well. Thou hast an easy grace in it. Art thou learned?
I know not if I am or not, sir. The good priest, Father Andrew, taught me from his books.
Knowest thou the Latin?
But scarcely, sir.
Learn it, lad. 'Tis hard only at first. The Greek is much harder. But tell me of thy April court. Hast thou put in life there?
In truth, save when one is hungry, yes, there be Punch and Judy shows and monkeys, such aunted creatures, and so bravely dressed, and there be plays wherein the players do shout and fight till they are all slain, and 'tis so fine to see, and costeth but a farthing, though 'tis hard to get a farthing. So please your worship, what a wondrous coin is that?
Never mind that. 'Tis not a coin, but much more important. Tell me more.
Oh, we lads of Oval Court do strive against each other with the cudgel in the fashion of the prentices.
Marry, thou would I like it.
We strive in races, sir, to see who shall be the fastest.
Thou would I like also.
In the summer we wade and swim in the canals and in the river, and each doth dog his neighbour, and splam with water, and dive, and shout, and
I'll be
tumble.
with my father's kingdom to enjoy it once. Prithee, go on.
Oh, we dance and sing about the Maypole and Cheapside, and we play on songs, each covering his neighbour up. And times we make mud pastry, the lovely mud. It hath not its like for delightfulness in all the world. And we do fairly wallow in the mud, sir.
Oh, prithee, say no more. 'Tis glorious. If I could put on clothing like thine and strip my feet and revel in the mud once, just once, with none to rebuke me or forbid, I believe I could forego the crown.
If I could clothe myself once, sweet as thou art clad, just once.
Oh, wouldst thou like it? Then so it shall be. Doff thy rags. Open, unbar the gate.
Take that, what you got me from the prince.
I am the prince, and my person is sacred. Thou shalt hang for thy hand upon me.
I salute your gracious highness. Be off, you crazy Robert.
After hours of pursuit and torment, the rabble outside the palace at long last deserted the prince, leaving him to himself. As long as he had raged against the mob and threatened it, and royally uttered commands, he was good stuff for laughter. But when he grew tired and silent, he was no longer a source for fun, and they sought amusement elsewhere. And so began our prince's education in the London outside the royal gates.
Right then. Awful cool. If I can but find it before my strength is wholly spent and dropped, then I am safe. But surely his people will take me to the palace and prove that I am none of this, but am the true prince. Oh, until this time and I have not brought a farthing home, my warrant. If it be so, I shall break all thy bones of thy lean body, and my name is not John Party. Oh, his father truly, sweet heaven grant it be, kiss thou way and restore me. His father? I know not what you mean, but I know I am thy father, and soon he shall have cause. Oh, just not, delay not. I am one. Take me to the king, my father, and he will make thee rich beyond thy wildest dreams. Believe me, man, believe me. Put forth thy hand and save me. I am indeed the Prince of Wales. Thou art as mad as any top of bedlam. But mad or mad not, I and thy gamma county will show you where the soft places in thy bones lie. The king, my father shall.
Catty! That boy is putting on airs again.
Gone to his head completely. Finding he's a prince.
Give that noggin of his a few whacks with your stick, and that'll knock the sense back into him.
Auntie, stay your hand, the child.
Keep away from him, Father Andrew. It's your books and learning that are the cause of this madness.
Stay your hand.
Show him the cure for madness, Catty!
Good night, sweet prince. Tom Canty was left alone in the prince's apartment and made good use of the opportunity to practice the carriage and walk of a proper prince. After the prince had been gone for some time, Tom began to worry about someone discovering him in the prince's clothing. Might they hang him at once and inquire about the matter later? His fears rose higher and higher. He crept towards the door and opened it.
Oh, why did I come here just to cast my life away?
The Lady Jane's drag.
Oh, what ails thee, my lord?
Be merciful. In sooth, I am no lord, but only poor Tom Hardy above the court. Prithee, let me see the prince, and you will of his grace restore me to my rags. Be merciful and save me.
Oh, my lord, on thy knees and to me.
There is no help. There is no hope. Now they will come and take me.
My lord, the prince is ill. He has fallen on his knees before me.
The Prince of Wales has taken ill. The Prince does not know himself. He has lost his mind. The Prince thinks himself a commoner. The Prince of Wales has lost his mind. What are you going to do? The Prince is insane!
In the name of the king, let no one listen to these false and foolish matters upon the pain of death, nor discuss the same, nor carry it abroad. In the name of the king.
Sir, you have been summoned. Please attend.
How now, my Lord Edward, my prince? Hast thou a mind to play on me, the good king thy father, who loves thee, a sorry jest?
Thou the king? Then I am undone indeed.
Alas, I have believed the rumor to lack the truth, but I fear it is so. Come to thy father, child, thou art not well. Dost thou know thy father, child? Break not mine old heart. Say thou knowest me, dost thou not?
Yea, thou art my dread lord. The king, whom God deserve.
True, true, that is well. Be comforted, tremble not so. There is none here but loves thee. Thou art better now? Thy ill dream passes. Is it not so? Thou wilt not miscall thyself again as thou did just a little while ago.
I pray thee, grace, believe me. I did but speak the truth, most dread lord. I am the meanest of thy subjects, being a pauper born, and 'tis by some mischance and accident that I am here. I am but young to die, and thou can save me with one little word. Oh, please,
shalt not die.
God thank thee for thy mercy, O my king. Save thee, and long may you bless this land. Thou had it. I am not to die. The king hath said it. I may go now.
Go, surely if thou desire it. But why not tarry a little longer? Where would thou go?
I mistook. I did think myself free, so I was moved to seek the kennel where I was born and bred to misery. That is the hovel of my mother and sisters, and so is ever to me. Oh, where's this place of pomp and splendor? I am not used to it. Oh, please, let me go.
Perchance he is but mad on this one area, and his wits unharmed in respect to other matters. God say it may be so. We will make a trial. Your Latin, good prince.
Scuto moris duinis, scio me nihil scire.
Qualis pater, talus filius. 'Twas not according to his schooling and ability, but shows that his mind is merely deceased and not stricken fatally. How say you, sir?
My mind jumps to the same conviction, sire, so I have determined it correctly.
We will try him further.
In French?
Où est le chat?
I have no knowledge of this tongue, so please your majesty.
Trouble me not, 'tis nothing but a scurvy faintness. Listen to me all. This, my son, is mad, but it is not permanent. Overstudy hath done this, and too much time indoors. Away with his books and teachers. Pleasure him with sports and wholesome entertainment, so that his health may come again. He is mad, but he is my son and England's heir, and mad or sane still shall he reign. And hear me further. Whoso speaks of his illness works against the peace and order of this kingdom, and shall be hung from the gallows. This sorrow saps my strength. Bring me drink, I burn. Mad is he, were he 1,000 times mad, yet is he the Prince of Wales, and I the King shall confirm it. Go to thy trifles and amusements, for my illness distresses me. I am weary and would rest.
Please sit, good sir.
Yes. Good prince, it is not seemly for me to sit in your presence. Please do not insist. It would make them very uncomfortable.
I shall keep it in mind.
I have come upon the king's errand concerning a matter which requires privacy. Will it please your royal highness to dismiss all the attendant here save myself? You need only make a sign with your hand. You needn't trouble yourself to speak unless you so choose.
Thank you, sir.
His Majesty commanded that for due and weighty reasons of state, the prince shall hide his infirmity in all ways that be within his power, to which he shall deny to none that he is the true prince and heir to England's throne. He shall uphold his princely dignity, and he shall cease to speak to anyone of his imagined lowly birth, which his illness has conjured. Until the hour arrives when you are well again, and this commandment has been lifted, I am to remain in your presence to aid your memory as needed.
The king hath said it. None may alter the king's command. The king shall be obeyed.
Perhaps your majesty would enjoy some light entertainment and not weary yourself before the banquet this evening. I see that your illness has robbed you of this memory as well. The king had promised them 2 months ago that you would attend the city's banquet this evening.
It grieves me to confess, it indeed escaped me.
The Lady Jane Grey!
Good afternoon, my lords.
I pray you, please, seem not to observe his humour, nor show surprise in his memory but laugh, that it behoove you not to show how it took state every.
Yes, my lord, I shall try.
Please, sir, remember all you can, or seem to remember, and do not see that you are much changed. She is such an old playfellow of thine, and it would grieve her heart to day. Shall I remain?
Yes, please do. I shall try my best.
Hast thou paid a visit to the queen today, my lord?
He hath indeed, madam, and she did glad the spirits. Did it not, perhaps?
Yes, it made me feel so much better, thank you.
The king felt that the Prince of Wales had been overstressed by too much study, so he will not be joining the lesson for a few days.
'Tis a pity. Thou wert proceeding bravely, but bide thy time. Thou wilt yet be great like thy father, and make thy tongue as master of as many languages as he.
My father? He cannot speak his own language, so that any but swine that roll with a size can understand his meaning. As for learning, my illness took hold of me again, and my mind did wander. I meant to take no reference.
No, sir. It is not thy fault, but thy illnesses.
Thou art a gentle comfort, sweet lady.
Thank you, my lord. Perhaps thou wilt feel more thyself when we make our way down to the city banquet.
Will you be joining me, my lady?
Certainly. I do enjoy a ride on board on the canal. And the fireworks.
Fireworks? What fun!
All the nobility will be attending, as well as the city council and the heads of all the departments.
So there will be quite a few barges in our parade then.
40 or 50, I believe. And of course the banks will be filled with commoners, cheering as far as the eye can see.
And the ear can hear. It is quite deafening.
Yes, that will be quite the occasion.
Perhaps you'd like a few moments to rest before we begin to prepare for the evening?
Yes, that would be good.
Have we leave of the Princess Grace to go?
Indeed, your ladyship. But when you go, you will bring a light and blessing of your presence with you.
Tom was discovering that everyone in the palace believed he was the prince, a prince that had gone mad. But as far as they were concerned, he was their prince. Meanwhile, the prince discovered that everyone in the Canty family believed that he was Tom Canty, and no matter how much he protested, he received the same beatings and abuse that Tom would have received. Tom, with an entourage of hundreds of servants and nobles on dozens of barges, has made his way through the city by canal towards Guildhall, where the banquet is to take place. Meanwhile, the prince and the Canty family are still sleeping soundly.
Awake! Awake! Look at me, you fool! Do you know what you've done?
I've done many things. Do you mean to say someone's finally noticed one of them?
Noticed? If they catch you there, you'll hang for sure.
Hey, what crime do you think deserves hanging?
Killing the priest, Father Andrew.
Well, I did not push him out all the way.
You pushed him all the way to Heaven's Gate. I imagine he's talking to St. Peter himself at this moment. And if you don't get a move on, you'll be talking to St. Peter before too long.
Oh, get moving! The constable will be here before we know it. Get moving or face the wrath of the king's rule by yourself. Now, not, you're coming with me. If we by chance get separated, make your way to London Bridge at the far end, near the inn. Go!
Get away from me.
Get moving!
They are celebrating the city banquet at Guildhall. Now how can that be? I'm here, there's no chance to die there. That Pauper has taken my rightful place. They celebrate a false prince.
You squirt, you fool.
How dare you speak to the Prince of Wales in that fashion?
Long live the prince. You are a fool. Out of my way.
Nay, why so fast, friends? It is a cause for celebration, a holiday.
My affairs are my own and concern you not. Let me pass.
Thou shalt not pass till thou respectest the law and grant according to tradition about the Prince of Wales.
Give me the book. Make speed, make speed.
You are sour name and such holidays.
Now, to get to Guildhall, say my rightful place and throw that sap into prison.
The Prince!
Dirty else to the prince. Where did he get off to?
Miles Hendon spirited the prince away from Guildhall towards the safety of a room he had rented at the inn on London Bridge. Marvellous place, London Bridge. Not only is it a bridge carrying a road across the River Thames, but it is an entire community of shops, taverns, and homes. People were born, grew up, and spent their entire lives on London Bridge. But it is also the place where John Canty and his tribe were to gather before fleeing London. Of course, Hendon and the prince are nearly to the safety of the inn when they run into Canty, who tries once again to grab the lad he thinks is his son, but who is in reality the King of England. Hendon unsheaths his sword and drives the villain from the field. Then takes the prince to his room for a much-needed rest and a meal.
Your meal, good sirs. Excellent. They're all good to me. Take it and put it on. I shall not need it anymore. We'll have a right hearty supping right now. Everything is savory and smoking hot. What is amiss? Good sir, I will wash me. Oh, is that all? Ask no permission of my attendant. Make thyself perfectly free and welcome. Bless us, what is it? Pray, pour the water, and make not too many glass. They are the saints. This is admirable. He truly believes himself the king. Come the towel. What is thou saying in the presence of the king? I must humour him. The poor thing is surely mad. I think thou callest thyself Miles Hennon, if I heard thee right. Yes, sire. Thou hast a Galloway with thee. Art thou newly born? We are at the tail of nobility. My father is a baronet, one of the smaller lords by night service. Sir Richard Hendon, of Hendon's Hall in Monkshaven in Kent. The name has escaped my memory. Go on, tell thy story. 'Tis not much, your majesty. My father, Sir Richard, is very rich and of the most generous nature. I have two brothers, Arthur, my elder, with the soul of my father, and Hugh, younger than I, a mean-spirited, covetous, treacherous, vicious, underhanded, a reptile. Thy lack of love for thy brother Hugh has always been such? Such he was from the cradle. We both loved the same woman, Edith. And trouble came of this? I was wild. In truth, I was very wild, though a wildness of an innocent sort, since it had none but me. Yet my brother Hugh did turn these faults against me. He did magnify my faults and make them crimes. He convinced my father that I intended to carry off Edith and marry her, in defiance of his will. What came of all this? I was banished from home in England for 3 years. It was my father's hope that becoming a soldier might make a man out of me and impart some small degree of wisdom. I fought in the wars in the continent, and in my last battle I was taken captive. 7 long years did I languish in a dungeon. Through wit and courage I won free and fled straight here. I'm poor in purse, clothing, and poorer still in the knowledge of what 7 years have wrought at Hampton Hall. So, please, your majesty, my meagre tale is told. Thou hast been shamefully abused, but I will right thee. The king has said it. My own journey has resulted in my own shameful abuse. Just yesterday, I longed to learn about life outside the palace gates, to experience for myself the joy of running through the streets of London. The opportunity presented itself when Pauper outside the gate was abused by the guard. I brought him in to learn from his tongue about that life, and thought to learn of it firsthand by taking place with him for a short time. But now he sits in my place and I am unable to resume my rightful station. No, what imagination he has, but he is still crazed. Though, I vow, he shall be cured. Thou didst see me entering to chance my life and shame my crown. Such service deserves original war. What be your desire? If it be within my royal power, it shall be fine. My service may not be on a subject simple deed. But, since your majesty holds it worthy of some reward, I make this petition. What is thy petition? Near 400 years ago, there was ill blood betwixt John, King of England, and the King of France. It was decreed that 2 champions would fight in the lists, and so settle the dispute. Everyone being assembled, the French champion appeared, but he was so impressive that our English knights refused to fight. it appeared that the matter would be settled by default in the favor of the French. I recall the tale. In the tower lay the Lord de Courcy, the mightiest man in all of England, stripped of honor and possessions. Appeal was made to him, and he agreed and came forth prepared for battle. No sooner did the Frenchman see his frame and his name, then he fled the scene, and the French cause was lost. Exactly. King John restored his titles and possessions, and asked what he might wish. Whereupon de Courcy kneeling did answer, I ask my liege, that I and my successors may have the privilege of remaining covered in the presence of the kings of England. The boon was granted, and to this day that family wears its hats while in the presence of the king. Invoking this precedent, I beseech the king to grant me this one wish, that I and my heirs forever may sit in the presence of the king of England. I saw. Rise, Sir Miles-handed knight. Rise and seat thyself. Thy petition is granted. Thank you, your majesty. I believe I shall take this opportunity to rest. And so I am now the knight of the kingdom of dreams and shadows.
In cape. There's a boy in staying with Miles Ended. It is Ended's will that he come to the southwark side of the bridge. Fetch him! Ended sent a man to call you to the bridge. Come.
It would have been better manners if Henry had come himself.
Bye-bye.
He's still sleeping. Sir, explain, thou limb of Satan, or thy time has come. Where is the boy?
Why with you, sir? A man can bring him to the southern side of the bridge.
Thou art a fool. A fool! And an easily deceived one. But mayhap no harm is done. Was the man alone?
All alone, your worship.
Or thou share?
Sure, your worship.
Collect your scattered wits, bethink thee, take time.
When he came, none came with him. But now I remember, as the two stepped into the crowd of the bridge, a rough-looking man plunged out from some near place, and just as he was joining
What then? Out with it!
just then the crowd lapped them up and closed them in. I saw no more since I was called that my master was in a rage because the meat that had been ordered from the butcher had not yet arrived. Though I take all the saints to witness that to blame me for such a miscarriage is like all the
Out of my sight, you idiot! Thy prating drives me mad. Hold! Went they toward Southwark?
Even so, your worship, for as I said before about the order from the butcher, though I'm out of the one to blame.
Art thou here yet? And prating still? Vanish, lest I throttle thee. 'Twas that scurvy villain that claimed lad was his son. I have lost thee, my poor little master. It is a bitter thought, and I have come to love thee so. No, not lost, for I shall ransack the land to find thee. Poor child. Speed, speed, that is the word. Now, I shall find you.
Methinks I've seen this man before. He's the one that plucked child's wit out of the Thames that first day of the new year. A brave, good deed. And he has come to his fate. Good sheriff, what is this man's offense?
So please your majesty, he has taken the life of one of your subjects by poison.
The thing was proven.
Most clearly, sire.
Take him away, yet in its punishment. 'Tis a pity, for it was a brave heart. Yet the look of it.
Yes, sire, his deed proves him to be a foul one.
Good sir, hold him out. I would look into this matter further. What say you, sir, about this crime?
Oh, my lord, the king, I am innocent, yet I cannot make it appear so. I have no friends that can testify where I was that night, because I was not in Islington, and the crime was but lamely proven, sir.
Good sir, tell me what thou knowest.
It did appear upon the trial that this man entered a house in the hamlet of Islington, where a sick man lay sick, alone, and sleeping at the time. Presently, this man came forth again and went his way,
The sick man died within the hour, being torn with spasms.
Did any see the poison given?
No, my liege.
Then how doth any know there was poison given?
The doctors testified that none died with such symptoms but by poison.
The matter Athena looked for this man.
Yet that was not all, your majesty. A witch since gone from the village did foretell that the sick man would die by poison, and that a stranger with brown hair and a worn and common garb would give the poison. Surely the prisoner does fit that description. To give the tale its proper weight, your majesty, it was foretold.
Can thou speak in thy own behalf?
Oh, my lord, the king. I am innocent, yet I cannot make it appear so. As I said, I have no friends that can testify where I was that night, because I was not in Islington, but a league away watching all the stars. And what is more, my liege, I can show that I was not taking a life, but saving one. A boy was drowning in the Thames, and
Sheriff, name the day the deed was done.
Why, on the first day of the new year.
Let the prisoner go free. It is the king's will. It enrages me that a man should be hanged on such idle, aberrant evidence.
This is not a mad king. He has his wits about him.
How insanely he put the question.
It is like his former self. God be thanked, his madness is past. Who art thou? What is thy business?
Leave thy foolery and quiet thyself. Thy disguise is not so good that thou dost not know thy own father.
Thou art not my father. I know thee not. I am the king. If thou hast hid my servant, thou shalt reveal him, and thou shalt sup the cup of sorrow for what thou hast done.
It is plain thou art mad. Thy prating tongue does no harm here without none to hear it. Yet it would do thy good to keep thy tongue in place. I have done a murder and cannot tarry home, nor shall you, as I am in need of thy service. My name is changed and is now Obbs, John Obbs. Thine is Jack. Keep it in thy memory. Now tell me, where are thy mother and sisters? They came not to the place I said to meet. Knowest where they are?
Trouble me not with riddles. My mother is dead. My sisters are in the palace.
Vex him not, Hugo. His mind is astray. Sit down, Jack, and quiet thyself. Thou shalt have a morsel to eat anon. Hugo, good leader and riffler, have we any newcomers to our gang?
Some. They were small farmers turned shiftless and hungry upon the world because the farms were taken from them to be turned into sheep rangers.
How fared they?
We begged and were whipped and set in stocks and pelted. We begged again and were deprived of an ear.
Poor devils. What could they do?
We begged a third time and were branded with a red hot iron. They've escaped right without an egg.
Exactly like the rest of us.
We were thrown off the farm.
I begged for mouse bells, blind and white, burned us a hungry kid. But it was a crime to be hungry in England.
They stripped us and lashed us through 3 towns.
Drink yield to the merciful English law, but drank so deep of my Mary that she now lies in a potter's field.
They lashed us from town to town. And the other kids, they starved.
Drink a drop, lads. Just a drop for the kids that never did anybody any harm.
I drank for the crust and got the stalks and lost an ear. Ear buys the stump. I drank it again and ear the stump of another. And if I'm whitewashed, you might see the brand and the iron left there. I will run for my master, and then when I'm found, I shall iron.
Thou shalt not. And this day that end of that old law is come.
Who is it? What is it? And what thou mannikin?
I'm Edward, King of England. Ye mannerless vagrants, is this your recognition of the royal boon I have promised?
Mates, he is my son, a dreamer, a fool, and stark mad. You thinketh he is the king.
I am the king, as thou shalt know to thy cost of good time. Thou hast confessed to murder, thou shalt swing for it.
Thou wilt betray me, thou, and I shall give my hands on thee.
Tut tut! Hast thou no respect for kings nor me, thy riffler? And thou insult my presence again, I'll end thee myself.
Thou hast made no threats against my mates, lad,
And you must guard your tongue from speaking evil against them elsewhere. Be king if it pleases thy mad humor, but be not harmful in it. We be bad men, but none among us is so base as to be traitor to his own king. Long live Edward, King of England!
Long live Edward, King of England!
I thank you, my good people.
Prophet boy, 'tis not wise. You would like fancy of that much, but choose some other title. Foo-Foo the First, King of the Moon Calves. Long live Foo-Foo the First, King of the Moon Calves.
Had I offered them a deep wrong, they cannot be more cruel. Yet have I proffered not but to them of kindness, and it is thus they use me for it. Tomorrow they have threatened to further impinge my dignity by helping them to steal. Perhaps they will offer the opportunity to free me of this gang of thieves.
Sir, I would wait a while.
Yes, my king. What shall we wait for?
I do not believe we are prepared for this coronation.
All of England is prepared, my liege. The celebrations have begun. What could be left undone?
Perhaps the throne room has not been prepared for the ceremony.
I shall inquire for you, my liege, until word of the preparations have arrived. Will you accompany me? It would not do for all of England to be prepared, but your palace and instead fail to make the very king himself ready. My liege, it would be worth all of our lives.
Next day, the three resumed their travels on the street.
I'm going to find us a pretty piece that we can steal. Tarry here till I come again. Run after me, crying, stop thief, to lead them astray.
My package! Where is my package? There it is! Out, thief!
You foolish creature! It was not I who took thy paltry goods.
Help, thief!
Your thief has flown.
Marry, good souls, let's proceed gently, not with ill blood and uncharitable words.
Thou hast lagged sorely, but thou comest from good season now. Samuels, call me this rabble to wrath.
Softly, softly, my prince, wag thy tongue warily. They suffer not to wag at all. Trust me, all shall go well in the end. Good one. Here's thy package, I trust.
Yes, this is it, and he stole it.
Did you see him steal it? I saw a man running away.
No, but when I turned around, he had it.
Mayhaps he knocked it from the thief's hand, as the real thief did flee. After all, a true thief would not stand there and wait for you.
That is true. He was just standing there.
Since your goods have been returned, and we cannot find the true thief, perhaps we should avoid the possibility of breathing further harm.
I do have my package. Although I would...
I will see to it that the lad leaves town with me and does not return.
Good.
That was truly a close call, sire.
Or I thank thee for clearing up that woman's ridiculous accusations.
Shall we continue on our journey? We have much news to catch up on.
Onward, sir, with all haste. All England prepares and crown false prince. To Westminster Abbey, sir, we must arrive before the coronation.
Marry, his manners is with him still. Yes, sire, but our purse is nearly empty. We must proceed afoot.
Afoot it shall be, but with haste, with haste. I charge thee in the name of the crown.
As my liege commands.
Harry, say I.
My liege, is not the entrance to the throne room over there?
Wouldst thou simply walk into the front door? This way, through the secret passage, I tell you. We must use cunning, for the cathedral should be properly guarded to protect the royal presence. Any dressed as we are will be taken prisoner.
And soundly beaten for attempting to get their foul presence past the king.
I'm King Edward VI, and I command you to let me pass, so suffer fate may style.
Good sir, I've been told
How dare you!
that if you hold him back,
Hold yourself, Flutterer.
you will become...
Mad! Run! I command you to stop.
Do as you must, my liege.
Thou shalt regret this day if thou be alive at the end of it.
I shall order your release, Sir Miles.
Unless I reach it first, sire.
I must speak with the Archbishop.
He awaits you, your majesty.
Send him in.
He awaits you at the throne room, your majesty.
I must speak to him at once. We must put a stop to this coronation. We must find the prince, for he is the one that must be crowned.
His madness returns! Yes, your majesty. Shall we proceed to the throne room? The archbishop waits you there. the king to receive such shameful blows. 'Tis nothing, sire. From here we can proceed directly to the throne room.
Or to the gallows.
Will you accompany me? I shall guard thy back, my liege. I shall send my personal doctor to attend thee, Sir Miles. For thy service this day thou shalt be an heir.
An earth in the kingdom of dreams and shadows. May thou find happiness in thy madness.
If Sir Miles can take obedient from me, then surely as king I can do no less than wrest the crown of England from that false brow and command its placement on the rightful king.
O Lord, hear our cry. All of England rejoices in this moment that we are about to behold. For, just as the seasons pass from one to another, as you did ordain when you made the world, so too the crown shall pass from the blessed brow of our monarch to the head of the next in that noble line. Blessed is the country we are making, for the king is dead.
Long live the king!
And now, with the blessing of our God and the authority vested in me, by him I crown you.
I forbid you to set the crown of England on that forfeited head. I am the king. He is the king.
Mind not, His Majesty. His illness is upon him. Seize the vagabond.
On your peril, touch him not. He is the king. Oh, my lord, the king, let poor Tom Hartley be the fastest way guilty to thee, as they put on their crown and enter into their knowing gown.
What a strange resemblance. Why, he does show a similarity of features and ism companion. Yet what test could we possibly put that would prove you are indeed the king, as both of you do claim?
Ask me any question you may wish, sir, about the palace, about the late king, my father, King Henry VIII, about the workings of our government. I shall answer them in any way and any detail you may wish.
I believe you might be able to do that, but so also could the second Edward that stands before me.
Surely there is some fact I might have missed that only I, King Edward, will know.
Missing. The seal, great seal. It has been missing since King Edward gave it unto you. Where is the great seal? King Edward, this King Edward, has been unable to tell us its location, so it was not available for use.
There is not in this riddle that is difficult. My private apartment goes down to the floor. In the left corner remote is from the door. In the wall you shall find a brass nail head. Press a corner to and a little blue closet will fly open. Therein is where I hid the great seal. Fetch it. Why dost thou hesitate? Hast thou not heard the king's command? Go! How hast thou amused thyself while I was being educated in the man in my kingdom? I have waited for your return most anxiously, for I missed the freedom that I enjoyed when I was merely one of your meanest subjects. However, the role of prince and finally king were thrust upon my unwilling shoulders. In your absence I have endeavored to govern with gentleness and mercy. Sire, the seal is not there! Cast the beggar straight! There with him! Whoever so touches him is imperiled for his life. Search you for it well. It is pointless to ask. How could one miss something as bulky as the seal of England? A mass of golden discs? Gold. That is enough. Was it round and thick? And had letters and a device? Oh, bother! If it had been described to me, you would have had it days ago. I know where it lies, but I was not the one who put it at first.
Who then, my liege?
He that stands there before you, the rightful king of England. And he shall tell you where it is, and then you will believe him, because only he could have placed it there. Think, my king, spare thy memory. It was one of the last things that I did that day before thou was rushed in the palace, clothed in my rags, to punish the god that insulted me. I recall this room, all of it, but the seal has no part in it. Oh, folly, my king. Think, I told you of my sister? Yes, you remember that. And of the rough games of the lads here at the court? Yes, you remember those also. You gave me food and drink. Then, for just my price, we did exchange garments. Then, we stood before Omnia, and we appeared so alike, it was as if no change of clothing had taken place. Then you noticed that the god had hit my arms. Look, I still can't write with it. The fingers are so stiff. At this, we sprung up, vain intentions, and rushed towards the door. But
Before we exchange garments, you passed the table, and upon it lay the thing you called the Great Seal. He snatched it up and looked around for a place to hide it. His eye caught sight.
Enough! Nor be faint. Here are the arm pieces of Milanese armor that hangs on the wall. There is where I hid the Great Seal.
Right, my king. Now it's up to England to sign it again.
How is it that you remember where I hid the Great Seal when I cannot remember it?
That was easy, since I've been using it.
Using it? Yet you cannot tell me where it was.
I did not know this was the seal that they wanted.
Then how did he use it?
To crack nuts, sire.
A most unusual use. I pray this there.
Long live the king! Alright, my king, take back these regal garments and give poor Tom, thy servant, his rags again.
That small brat will be stripped and flung into the tower.
Seize him!
I will not have it! But for him I will not have my crown again. None shall lay a hand upon him as long as I shall live. He shall henceforth be known as the King's Ward. With Miles Hendon and Tom Cartney by my side, I shall be in peace and prosperity as I reign.
Yes, sir. Now we can return to your rightful place upon the throne. Shall we continue the coronation?